Hey there, hi there, ho there, hello there, and welcome back to another exciting edition of the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast, where we discuss the joy and excitement of UofL women's athletics. Certainly, some very exciting things that went on in this past week, and we'll get into all of those today as we have a foursome on the broadcast today. Daryl is out in South Carolina somewhere at a wedding, whatever. So if she was attending yours, Jared, she's a little bit late, but I think it's a different occasion. We do have Case, Jared, Jeff, and myself, Paulie in the house here. So, as we like to do, we got to try to catch up with the guys before we get into the meat and the bones of the show. So, let's go ahead and start with Jared. Is married life still bliss, bud? How are things going?
Yeah, almost at the 3-month mark already and still together, so that's a promising sign. House hunting's been extremely positive, so should be having some good news come in the next few weeks after we cross some T's, dot some I's. But yeah, married life's been going well. Just figuring out how to furnish a house one day with the limited resources that we currently have.
Slowly but
Antique
surely.
stores.
You're gonna be like the college bachelor where it's just the mattress on the floor, the TV on the floor, the camping chairs.
One piece at a
furniture for your house.
time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
remember,
I'm pretty simple and easy to please. So you get me a smart TV, a recliner, a side table, an outlet. I'm pretty good.
I got to talk to Samsung to see what they want to do about another TV that broke the same exact way as the other TV that they
oh
had.
gosh,
Yeah.
that
But
sounds good.
but if they're being rude about it, I can at least give you an art piece. It's a very nice, large, black monitor that does nothing.
I'm becoming more and more convinced that the way to go is not to buy a smart TV, but to buy a very large computer monitor and plug it into like an Apple TV or an Android TV, something like that, and let that be your TV service.
I was fine last night watching the football game, and I ended up getting it through another provider. It wasn't on TV because of ESPN's pissy fight with Disney right now. But
Well,
I had a great-
ESPN's not fighting with Disney; they're the same company.
I mean,
No,
they might be.
Spectrum.
You never know.
Well, they might be. Yeah,
well,
Internally.
Spectrum fighting
with
Disney,
Spectrum.
yeah.
Yeah.
And whatever, guys, come on. I mean, you got a lot of customers out there. Can you get this solved? Can you get this going on here? But I enjoyed watching the game last night online. It was a great, clear picture, and it wouldn't take me too long to kind of back off the spectrum scale here, so to speak. Lord knows they're getting enough money each month from me.
I think they're going to lose a lot of customers over this.
Yeah, we've actually started talking about that ourselves to see what type of, like, maybe YouTube TV, something along the lines of that, possibly, and just figure out who our internet carrier would be.
I mean, Fubo wasn't bad, and I think they've got like 180 channels or something on just a basic package. So
Yeah.
we'll see. Time will tell. My wife, unfortunately, is a traditionalist, and she wants to be able to watch her news and yada yada yada. That's on the local channels and
You can get them all.
stuff like that. So
Yeah, I got all my local channels through YouTube TV.
Same.
there you go.
Yeah.
It could be the
Not
way.
that I'm going to be some shill for Google properties, but
No, but I mean, there are other ones. I've actually looked at Sling. I think they may be better for sports stuff. So
we had Sling for a little bit. The problem, Sling, unless they've changed, Sling doesn't carry local cable. So we had to also have a antenna to try to pick up WDRB, WHAS, stuff like that.
I've got an antenna, so all right.
As long as it was Sling and not Sling Blade.
Yeah,
Sling Blade TV.
Because if Billy Bob Thornton's hanging around your house, that probably isn't a good thing, Jeff.
No.
Yeah, I guess what the trick is finding somewhere that carries ACC Network, Extra, Bally Sports, kind of all those.
Yeah, the problem is YouTube and Bally don't.
yeah.
I can watch Reds games when they're on Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV. That's it.
Yeah, because the ACC tends to have some weird love marriage relationship with Bally that needs to go away.
Yeah, those games I just don't get to watch, sadly.
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of Bally to begin with either, guys. I'll be honest.
Don't worry, they're going to go bankrupt, and then you won't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
That would be fine because I remember
Let them
Bally.
die. Yeah.
putting out pinball machines years ago, okay?
Yeah.
And now they're doing this. Whatever. But these melodic voices you've heard in the background are also Case and Jeff. Case, how was your week? What's going on with you, man?
It was good. Headed over to St. Louis for a little quick trip. Meet the new office teammates because we changed teams to be based out of St. Louis now. So headed over there. Also starting a project over in that area in Edwardsville, Illinois. So got to visit that project site while we were out there. But was glad to be doing that in the middle of the week. 64 looks like it's about to go the way of 65, where they have they were constructing what seemed to be very odd pavement in between the two separated lanes or the two separated directions of the highway. And I ultimately realized that they are about to start doing full directional closures and lane shifting all the way to the other side, which is the purpose of those shifts. So I'm glad to not be dealing with that traffic on 64 during Labor Day weekend. And we just kind of cruised through.
They're just waiting for the aliens to land and correct it all. That's what it is. They will land on 64. My mind's made up. Jeff in the house. Jeff, how's your week been, pal?
Not bad. It's a decent week. Work was work, and it is what it is. And but did a little bit for a Louisville fan. What may be a little bit controversial. Went down to Lexington last night to Rupp Arena to watch a Kentucky volleyball game. They were hosting. Yeah, they were hosting Pitt. So 2 games with 2 good teams.
What does one wear to such a match if you're a third party?
I wore a UofL shirt, man. I wore a UofL shirt.
Totally.
Oh, Jeff is
I did.
It, see what happens.
I just this is what it is. This is my allegiance. I'm
Did you run down and do the CATS catch? No. No. Okay. Right.
No, I tried to be a little bit low key about it. I sat way up, and it was I actually went down courtside because there was someone there I knew. Went to speak to him, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back up to row in or whatever it is. I sat in and with me and my I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be I'm there to be a respectful fan of 2 good teams. That I was expecting a really good match between and didn't really get that last part, but that's all right.
Kentucky didn't get the message, did they?
No.
I was kind of said, you didn't see my girlfriend from the AVCA there, did you?
Oh, I was up. I guess
Similarly, when we went to St. Louis, I went to a Cardinals game. It was Cardinals and Padres, and I did not wear Reds gear because I knew better than that. But it was a game between 2 bad teams, and we actually got a good game. So I guess I stole that from you.
Yeah. It was it wasn't a terrible match, but it was not the quality I was expecting.
This was at Memorial?
No, it was at Rupp Arena.
Oh, at Rupp. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were trying to do attendance. Get a bunch of attention. I think they got like a little over 5,000 there. So.
Yeah.
Oh, so they didn't have a football stadium's worth of people?
No.
Maybe they can try again at some other time to break the global record for attendance at women's sports.
Yeah.
Good luck on that one.
Hey, they could go up do it up at the Speedway up in Sparta, right?
Yeah, that's
I don't even know if Kentucky Speedway holds 90,000 people.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know if it does or not? I would figure it would hold at least 90,000.
There's a lot of areas there that aren't seats.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not familiar with that.
Plus, I mean, who would you put in there to play? Louisville, Kentucky? I don't think that would draw 90,000.
Yeah.
In what sport?
We're talking
volleyball.
In volleyball, yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, I wouldn't right now.
It's too far from both of them.
Yeah. It is basically. I mean, but as for myself here, just to kind of wind things up, interesting week. I've been really getting a lot of conversation with the university. Excuse me, just a second here. I've got a frog in my throat. I need to clear out just a second.
Yeah.
Okay, hopefully much better. a lot of communication from the University of Cincinnati lately. They not asking me to come up and take a coaching job or a talk show or anything like that, but concerning my kidneys. So they are a very proactive type of kidney transplant center, and have really been kind of pressing me on some issues about where do I get my treatment, how's my treatment going, yada yada yada, symptoms, all this other stuff. Very intensive. Sometimes a little bit of a duplicate. I mean, I've had some of these things done at other universities, hospitals, but Cincinnati says, "Oh no, we want our own test. We're not going to rely on what UK or UofL says." Maybe that's good. I don't know, but it's been an eye-opening experience. And I'm faced with the possibility of at least 2 or 3 more drives up there. And I just would. I'm almost thinking of flying up. You know, fly to Covington and have a cab take me. Seriously, because I hate that drive, and I can say that with true fashion. A lot of people say, "Well, I hate to drive to Lexington," or in this case, I hate to drive to St. Louis or whatever. The drive to Indy. Some people don't like that. I hate to drive to Cincinnati. I seriously do.
I don't think. I mean, in the overall scheme of things, I don't think any of those are terrible. But it's still it's still a drive and a hassle and annoying. And yeah, I get it.
Yeah. And the drive to Knoxville wasn't even all that bad, but oof, Cincinnati, no thank you.
Well, what are you going to do when you have to drive out to Stanford and Cal next year?
You know what, Jared? Those may be road games I don't cover.
Yeah. Hey, I flew to Stanford last year, so
Yeah, you went out there. I mean, yeah.
Trying to think about what the value proposition was for SMU to join the ACC, which by some accounts might also be in a bit of danger itself, when they don't get any media rights profits for 9 years.
Well, SMU's got
what?
They're sitting on a treasure chest of money down there, though.
They're saying that they're going to be that the move for them would be revenue neutral to start with, and then improve over time. So,
well, that's what I mean. The reporting is that for the TV deal, they are being added to the conference and will not receive revenue sharing from the media rights deal for
that's
9 years.
30% for California.
Yeah.
But yet they're still expecting it to be a overall revenue neutral move. Yeah. And I'm not sure where the rest of that revenue comes from, but
I think they're going to love beating up on the little brothers and sisters.
Probably NCAA tournament.
Yeah,
exactly.
True.
That should be some fun for them, and it'll really change up the old conference kind of thing here. I mean, wow! All of a sudden, a picture of Jeff Wall's road trip. Well, let's say we're going to go to Stanford, California, and then we got to go to SMU. All that in 10 days. Yikes!
You got to think they would schedule them better than that, though.
Well, we're talking about the ACC, Jeff. Okay.
I was laughing last night about the ACC starting a new football schedule and then immediately blowing it up by adding more teams.
Exactly. Well, we're going to get rid of this division and that division. Oh, by the way, we're going to add 3 more teams, and we may have to go back to divisions. We're not sure yet. We'll get back to you. Typical blunderheads up at the ACC. But enough on those guys, huh? I shouldn't be too mean on them. We got some scheduling and Twitter to talk about here, fellas, or scheduling and X. I guess I should call it.
I'm still calling it Twitter.
Yeah. Yo, user friendly.
I'm never going to stop.
There it is. Yeah, you can put that on your profile.
No, I'll get kicked off if I do that. Then I guess I would stop calling it Twitter because I wouldn't be on there anymore.
So, Case, what have you got to say about this X formerly known as Twitter?
Well,
go ahead and schedule it at Twitter.
We'll start with scheduling. How about that?
Yeah.
So getting ready to kick off the weekend for the Cards. UofL volleyball in Columbia, Missouri, taking on Northern Kentucky. That match is at noon. Where the X?
Is it at noon? I was thinking it was 2. Sorry.
It is at noon. Tomorrow, I think, is at 2.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
I thought today was 2, but never mind.
Oh, no. Well, according to the schedule, volleyball plays at noon. And tomorrow they play at 3:30. So I guess they played at 2 yesterday, right? Maybe that was the only time they played 2.
Yeah.
So they play Missouri, the hosting team, at 3:30 tomorrow.
Yep.
There is a video list now. There was not.
Yeah, that should be what SEC Network or SEC Network Plus.
Let's find out. Looks like SEC Network Plus.
Yep.
So that'd be streaming through ESPN app most likely.
Mhm.
Another plus.
So sorry, Spectrum folks.
Yeah.
Again,
Fubo, how you doing?
Hey, if you pay for ESPN Plus, you can stream ESPN Plus games still.
yeah.
Like SEC Network Plus games? Or
You can, but then they
Yeah.
ask your provider, and if you hit Spectrum, then you're in trouble.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Either way. Actually, all the games tomorrow will be on streaming only platforms. Field hockey taking on Penn at 1:30 p.m. That one is on ESPN Plus, and women's soccer taking on Central Michigan. Last game of their homestand at 7:30 p.m. on ACC Network Extra. Monday, women's golf in the Boilermaker Classic. No time listed, but I mean, it's a golf event. It'll be pretty much all day.
Mhm.
Tuesday, that continues, and men's soccer takes on Kentucky with an 8 p.m. start on Tuesday. So, yikes. Volleyball
Is that-
continues.
Where's
Sorry,
that
go
one?
ahead.
Where's that?
The men's soccer game is at Dr. Mark and Sidney Lynn Stadium.
Okay, so it'll be ACC Network. I was gonna say because Kentucky men's soccer is Conference USA, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, because the SEC doesn't sponsor men's soccer.
right.
Are they Conference USA or the Big East?
Conference USA.
I think they're Conference
Okay.
USA, but yeah, I can believe either. But
Yeah. So that one's on the ACC network proper for that match at 8 p.m. Men's soccer coming off a good win last night. Wednesday, volleyball continues their road trip there at Dayton with a 7 p.m. Wednesday night. Starts a little bit late for a volleyball match between, I guess, Louisville and Dayton anyway. Louisville volleyball regularly hosts very late matches. I remember it was the Kentucky match a couple of years ago that started at 8 p.m. or something.
Let
So
me get
no
on
video listed for that, and based on the experience of the women's soccer team, I think it would be ESPN Plus if it's anything. Thursday, women's soccer heads up to Bloomington. They take on Indiana. That one is Big Ten Network Plus, which is paid. So cool. Football takes on Murray State at home. I'm calling it Cardinal Stadium. Can't stop me. Look, if it's almost like for me, they went through the effort of changing it to L&N Federal Credit Union Stadium and intentionally left off the Cardinal because they knew that everybody would just call it Cardinal Stadium if they left Cardinal Stadium in there. So it's almost out of spite that I'm just going to keep calling it Cardinal Stadium. Everybody knows what I mean. That one's on ACC Network. It starts at 7:30 p.m. Friday, field hockey returns home. They're taking on Traeger Stadium. They're taking on Ohio State at Traeger Stadium.
The whole stadium.
Is that a
My
playing
gosh,
against the stadium?
there could be
take
some
it on.
ringers up in those seats.
I don't know. That one's at 6 p.m. on Friday. There's no video listed, but that'll be on AC's Network Extra. I don't know why they don't have the link for that. Men's soccer heads up to Syracuse to start their conference season. That one also on ACC Network. And that gets us through the week. As for social media, I actually tweeted because I was watching football last night, which is shocking. Tweeting while doing something other than watching women's soccer with live tweets. Interesting. But that's best case scenario for me. The name, not the situation. Polly tweets is at Cardinal Couple, and Jeff is at Jeff McAdams and at Card Couple Radio. Jared is at Mr. Anderson Jared. Daryl's at Daryl Faust 4. And, as of, let's check. It could change any moment. So it doesn't hurt to find out literally right before we look. But as of right now, where'd it go? Uh-oh. Where'd the Twitter widget go on the right-hand side?
What on the website?
Yeah.
On Cardinal Couple? Let's take a look here. I don't know.
It has disappeared.
I am not seeing it.
I'm looking down. I'm scrolling down. Be a donor today.
I think it's gone.
Well, I see follow us on X, formerly Twitter.
Yeah, but not the widget with the
It showed live tweets.
with all the accounts, the list.
Well, it's got 6 accounts listed below it. So follow us on X, formerly Twitter.
But we used to have a running it was a little widget in the app that showed
Oh, that
the
ran through
actual
Jeff's.
Twitter.
That
Yeah,
ran
It's,
through
it's
Jeff's
gone.
feed
it should still be there,
It's
as far as I
gone.
know.
because
So
we were doing
our
stuff
embed,
on Jeff's.
uh,
Yeah.
our embed finally got they finally found it after months of diligent searching by the one person that still works at Twitter. They finally found our embed link and removed it. It looks.
He woke up long enough to figure out what was going on.
Oh,
Well,
man.
Jeffy will just have to get busy again. We'll get that taken care of.
Poor Jeff.
Oh, it's not me. I mean, the list is still there. Should be anyway.
As far as you're on your account, yeah. But anyway, that was it. Yeah, I didn't expect that to. I expected that to be like a little joke about, about seeing if it was still there, and lo and behold,
It was gone. Yeah.
Hmm.
I guess the people at X are taking objection to a Cardinal couple. Who knows?
what a shame. Crew they
We're
got around
still
there.
in,
Maybe that's not terrible.
Yeah, we're stealing too much profit away from them.
Probably. Yeah. I think Facebook still likes us a little bit. I don't know.
Who knows?
I will post.
I made
on
it through.
there. Yeah. Very good stuff there too. And as we have that out of the way now, we're going to move on to the meat and the bones of the show here. Though I was looking at it, we got basically 3 items to talk about today. We will discuss a little bit about the women's soccer game that took place on Thursday. And then, of course, we'll also get to field hockey and volleyball. Both active yesterday. Guess kind of looking back, and we'll go ahead and start it on out with the women's soccer. I've expected a much bigger blowout by Illinois than we got on Thursday night. Basically, Louisville kind of held their own in there. It was 2-0 for the longest time, and then they got a goal to make it 2-1, but unfortunately couldn't score again. And they had 2 shots that I remember in particular to hit the top crossbar, and I mean just a couple inches lower, and those are goals. And they could have won that thing 3-2, but we did not do a post game with Karen Ferguson days. Jaron and I kind of looked at Matt the SID and post game. Not fun to talk with her after a loss. We did not do it, but hey, it was a loss, and we still haven't won one yet. But Case, I was kind of impressed that at least we hung in there with them.
Well, I just opened up my article from the other day, and I wrote 2,300 words about it already, so I'm not sure what else I can say. It's kind of disappointing still that you have another game where they outshoot the opponent. This time it's an opponent that's pretty good. They outshot Xavier. They lost that game. They outshot Illinois. They lost that game. You're kind of to a point where it's not really clear what the path forward is. There's still encouraging signs. Like you said, a couple of shots that really could have been goals. A play that was definitely at least should have given them the opportunity to equalize right before Illinois extended their lead. And I think pretty much everyone was in agreement of what should have been the call, except for the center referee on the potential Illinois handball. So that one was unfortunate. They score on. I wrote an article that the goal by Sabina Zamborini was one of those goals when a team can't miss, and you're like, geez, like everything goes their way. Whereas in Louisville's case, it's been nothing can go their way, and yet that ball still finds its way in the back of the net. So maybe it was a little bit of karmic resolution based on the non-handball.
Karmic resolution. I like that one.
Based on the non-handball, but
we can use it for a lot of things.
I think the most disappointing thing for me in this game was the defense was a step back. I feel from the games prior. We've seen the defense be pretty strong, and then the offense can't quite find a winner or an equalizer. And in this one, the defense really let down the midfield and the offense with both goals. I feel were unfortunate. And preventable.
It was sad to see, but But Case wrote a really good write up on this Friday Cardinal couple if you get a chance and haven't
Oh,
read it yet. Go back and read it. And he also put some neat connect the dot diagrams in there too, but I wasn't very good at them. I couldn't come up with an animal or a building or anything. Case, so. But thanks for making the effort.
Coach Case came out and it was really
Yeah.
actually learned a fair bit.
Karen Ferguson Days is getting your address and phone number. She's gonna
No,
be
she's
careful.
not. She's gonna come fight me.
Walk out in your front yard and see a sign: "Case must die." UofL women's soccer.
I'm pretty sure that this exact situation has been like drawn on the whiteboard at least a few times before and after Thursday night's game.
Oh, I can't wait to see the next post game interview. This could be fun.
Well, they'll have to win for us to do one. So
She does read us occasionally. I do know that. So yeah,
probably not after they lose to Illinois in a game like that. I imagine.
Probably head straight over to Beef O'Brady's and start ordering doubles. That's strategy.
Senor Iguanas is next door.
Yeah, that is pretty close, isn't it? Yeah, boy, she could just.
I thought they closed.
Oh, did they?
Did they? I thought
How
they still had
heartbreaking.
theirs. Well, if the House of Cards is open, she could always pop in there. I know that Jeff and the boys would be happy to pour her a drink or two. They're good guys over there at House of Cards.
Oh no, it's the St. Matthews location that had closed a couple years ago, not the campus location.
You're talking about the Senor Iguanas, right?
Yep.
I was going to say the number of college students should be able to keep that place open in perpetuity.
Oh, you think so? Yeah, Jared was at the game with me, and he was a busy man. He got me a Mina towel. He talked with her at halftime and Jared had a selfie made with somebody. That never happens. But he had one made with Amina, and also was taking shots for the Cardinal couple articles and stuff. So Jared, they gave it out there. They gave it the old, I guess we'd call it the old college try, but just couldn't quite get that equalizing goal.
Yeah, actually, I think the best thing to sum up how this season has gone is the fact that Amina shows up at the game and she goes, "I wasn't aware it was a promotion night about me. Nobody told me."
Yeah.
And I was like, "You found out through Facebook that it was a promotion night about you?" So, I mean, that's just kind of the story of the season right there.
They didn't bring her out at halftime or anything.
No, and I mentioned that to her. I said, "Man, they should have put you out there at halftime," and then Gabby had come over because she happened to be at the game as well. And I said, "Gabby, you need to be out there too to get recognized." And then I asked Amina, I said, "Do you have any eligibility left? We may need some help this year." So she kind of smiled and laughed, and her parents were there, and they smiled and laughed. But it was nice being able to catch up with both of them because unfortunately the result on the pitch was pretty disappointing. And I think you've kind of you've now surpassed probably your easiest opponents to face on the schedule at this point. I know there's still a chance maybe Wyoming or Central Michigan, but I mean, if you haven't won a game at this point in the season, I would not be surprised if it ends up being a big old fat goose egg still at the end of the year.
We did they did make the announcement up in the press box that Amina was in the house, and I immediately responded, "Do we have an extra jersey down there she could put on?" And I got a good laugh from the people up there. But this is something that I didn't know if we'd be over 500 or not when I did my preseason look at this schedule and everything like that. But in my wildest dreams, I didn't think we'd be over a year. Okay, I didn't think it would be winless right now, Jeff. And it's I don't know. I mean, is the fat lady getting ready to walk up to the podium and sing for Karen Ferguson Days? What's going on here, bud?
Man, I don't know. I hate to say that. I mean, obviously, we're fans of hers, and
yes.
But I gotta think that this is not the level of play that is expected out of UofL athletic programs. And so, you gotta think maybe that chair may be getting a little bit warm. So I'm not thrilled about that, but also, I want to see this soccer program be successful. So sometimes that's what it takes.
Well, as not to get back on football, but football has generated a lot more revenue this year with some changes themselves, which is going to allow athletics to invest more money in other departments, including if they do want to do a search for a new head coach for women's soccer. So I think Josh Hurd may be ready at the end of this season to explore other options. I mean, we'll see how the rest of the season goes. There could be a big old change in how the team looks, but I wouldn't be surprised if UofL chooses to go another direction for next season.
Yeah, and I suspect it will be a retirement.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be anything less respectful than that.
Well, Denny Crum was a retirement too.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
but
in paper, but yeah, we all know that was kind of like a
Right. That's what I'm getting at.
yeah. No, I agree. But
Karen, we got a couple options for you. Either you go ahead and retire and get a nice cushy little package, or you're out the door the other way.
yeah,
I don't want it to come down to that, and I want to believe that she knows what she's doing here. She has brought in some talented freshmen. It is a maturation progress. It takes a little time to get them into the swing of things, but still, I mean, we haven't had any. We haven't seen any life in the fire here yet. It's still smoldering. It hadn't flamed up, and it's got to happen pretty soon here. I mean, with the chips, you got to be able to beat the chips, right? I mean, you got this is like a have to have this one game, if you ask my opinion. Am I right on this, guys?
Well, it'd be nice if we had a game plan to start with. I feel like every time we go out there, I mean, it's almost like rec league ball. I don't see much of a game plan. There's no tactics. There's no really anything going on.
I was going to say a little bit, continuing the fire metaphor. It's kind of like when somebody puts the kindling in and then it doesn't immediately light up, so then they keep poking it with a stick and like moving other logs around, which the team is certainly. It's hard to build consistency and build that communication that I discussed in the article, and when we're going like 9 deep on the bench in the first half in pretty much every game.
Yeah, it's a it's a situation we hope will change, and we're going to keep our fingers crossed here and hope that they can get a W on the board Sunday night against Central Michigan, and then maybe just maybe it'll be enough to spur this team on a little bit and let them see that, hey, we can win a game, and we can do this, and by golly, we're ready now for IU and IU. Could be tough. And then after that is Wyoming before we get into conference play against Virginia in the middle of September. It's going to be an interesting 4-game stretch here, guys. It really is. I'll have to see what happens. I mean, if we're 0 for non-conference, I'm going to get a little worried. I'm going to get a little worried. I think that the fat lady will have taken the podium and will be ready to sing. But hey, let's move it on out of women's soccer a little bit and wish them the best of luck and things turn around for them and they can get stuff rolling and get stuff going here. We got some volleyball and we got some field hockey to talk about here. First of all, we'll get into field hockey next year. The Cards number 9 in the nation went up and beat number 10 in the nation up in Philadelphia. Knocking off a very, very good team in Princeton that plays traditional Ivy League field hockey. A lot of passing, a lot of working. Got them 2-1. So excited about that they could go on the road and win like that. And then, of course, they will move over. I think play Penn today, if I'm not. Or
that's correct.
But, hey, Harry's getting it done here. She said at the start of the year, we got a lot of experienced people back, but I'm doing some rebuilding. I think that rebuilding project's going pretty good so far, if you ask me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I actually want to take it back another game to Sunday where they did a true road game at Northwestern, reigning Big Ten champs, number 2 in the country. And to be able to go into Northwestern's house and get that win, and if I remember correctly, that goal came pretty late in the fourth quarter, so this was a bloodbath for most of the match right there. Or that was it was a third quarter, fourth quarter goal for Kazi.
I'm putting it down for you right now. 36:02, Amelia Kazmarchik.
So third quarter.
So, yep, middle of the third quarter, pretty much.
But I mean, just to get your first true road game of the season against a higher ranked opponent is monumental. And then yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, particularly when you are outshot 21-3,
Oh, that was amazing. Did you see
have
that? Oh, my gosh.
have 10 saves, and you force 0 saves out of Northwestern. Louisville put one of their 3 shots on goal, and it found the back of the cage. Which, hey, that's efficiency.
Yep, that's the number you needed. You don't need any more than that.
And it's the Princeton team walking off the field, scratching their heads, go, wait a second. We took all the shots here. What's the deal? Right?
Yeah, and then moving ahead to their match against Princeton yesterday, which is not a true home game against Princeton, but the drive for them was less than an hour. So yeah, it's basically a home game. Another ranked opponent and still away from Traeger Stadium. Another big win. I thought defense held well, just allowing the 1 goal out of Princeton, who was averaging about 2.5 to 3 goals a match last season. And then also for the offense to piece together a multi-score game. So twice this season they put up a multi-score goal, which is good because I think the offense is kind of what held the team back last year. A lot of these goals this year already have been coming on set pieces, those penalty corners. So we talked about that for, it seems like, year after year, how the penalty corners were causing issues and not being as productive as they need to be. And then this year, Barry's like, okay, cool, we'll get that resolved. And
well, even
in
the first game or so of this year, we were like, okay, we still have this penalty corner, and then all of a sudden, like, it's like flip a switch, and they're starting to make them now. So,
and that's great. I'm glad, but we've also got so many offensive weapons this year. It seems like yesterday we had 2 players that scored their first goals of the season. One of them was a true freshman, and the other one, I believe, was a redshirt sophomore who had only scored 1 other goal in her career. So it's nice to see some other players be able to step up and
absolutely
and take the pressure off your regulars, such as Amy Plum and Amelia Kaczmarczyk.
Yeah, you got Chloe off the corner, and then you also had a really nice play by Tyler Eversledge, who, and this was not on a corner, believe it or not. They were just working the ball down, and the keeper came out to kind of challenge Minna Tremonti. And once she did that, she just kind of sloughed a little pass off to Tyler, and Tyler knocked it home. Good play there.
Yeah, I think you need to give a lot of that credit to Minna Tremonti herself. The more went back and rewatched that play over and over, and I think that was a design play coming out of the break for Minna Tremonti to bring it up the entire field and then knowing to curve in at the baseline. And the moment the keeper broke out to square off against her, it was a quick pass to Tyler. You couldn't blink because the goal happened that quick. So I think you really need to give a lot of the props to Minna Tremonti there.
I am very disappointed that the NCAA tracks penalty corners, and when we look at the box score, it tracks goals, like penalty corners converted, but the NCAA does not track penalty corners converted. So I cannot see how Louisville ranks against other teams without having to look at every single other team's game results to see where their goals came from. But Louisville, this doesn't include games from yesterday, but they are tied in 28th in the country with an average of 7 per game. That'll dip a little bit because they only had 6 penalty corners in yesterday's game. But to be converting on those, because they have scored on penalty corners in both of those games, in the 2 they've played, have they converted a penalty corner in all 3 games? If so, that would be a pretty good conversion rate. It's hard to tell. The reason I wanted to look this up is to see what a representative benchmark conversion rate would be.
Yeah,
16% feels good. It feels like a decent conversion rate, which 1 of 6 is what they had yesterday. So
I think Zary has always kind of tried to endeavor to get a 25%. That might be a little pie in the sky optimistic thinking on that, but that's where she'd like to see it. But hey, if you need a little more on this, make sure and catch the Saturday Cardinal Couple article where Jared wrote it up, and Jared, of course, put some of his own pictures in there, including one which is very. Jared wanted to get those new water sprinklers in the picture, and he sure did. It looks like there might be a monsoon descending on Traeger here.
Looks like the Traeger Center is on fire. Looks like someone's trying to put out a 5-alarm fire at the Traeger
It
Center.
almost looks like a smoke cloud, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Jared fighting the fire with the water sprinklers.
Yeah, I don't think the word sprinkler really does this justice, right? I mean,
No, that's
Yeah,
the inverse
water
of the sprinkler
cannon.
performance at the soccer game.
yeah.
Yeah, I think water cannon is probably a more accurate.
Cannon would be
term.
fine, yes.
Yeah,
And,
I
the
think
offers-
fire departments around the county are drooling with envy.
Or if we could put one of those down to put out a house fire. Yeah.
I can think of some nearby water districts that are jealous of the water pressure that we can afford on a sprinkler system, whereas they don't have water pressure for their house.
I guess I may have to up the offer. It used to be a standing $50 offer if Jared would take a water cannon full on chest, within 2 feet of it. But with these new powered ones here,
$50 ain't covering the medical.
no, that ain't even going to get him an ambulance ride. I'm gonna have to get this up to 100 and then make sure he's got a ride to the hospital.
Yeah, that thing would knock me back to about midfield or so.
He'd be up in the press box with us.
Yeah.
Whoa. Hey, Jared, what are you doing up here? Oh, the water cannon. But a good win for the Cards there, and certainly hoping that they can do the same thing against Penn. I haven't really done any research on Penn yet to see what they've got, but I think they'll be okay, and it's going to make it very, very tough for me to come up with a player of the week this week because volleyball has had some outstanding efforts. So is field hockey, so could be interesting. But let's go ahead and
Penn is playing their second match of the season tomorrow.
they
They opened with a 0-4 loss, but it was against North Carolina. So how can you really hold that against them?
Yeah.
that's a pretty fair program, even if they do have a rookie coach.
And last season, the Quakers went 7-10. They also lost to North Carolina. They opened their season last year with games against Louisville and North Carolina as well. They lost to Louisville 1-4 and to North Carolina 0-4 again. So they finished that season 7-10. They started 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. They started 1-8 and finished 7-10. So not
They're
a terrible
part of the
way
Ivy
to
League, right?
to
Yeah.
figure it around. Yeah, they turned it around there at the end for sure. But the schedule definitely got a little bit easier in the back half. So Louisville definitely can't overlook them. I don't think.
Yeah, part of the Ivy League, I think, as well. And I'd like to see them beat Harvard, but that's just my own personal deal there. But let's go ahead and move on over to volleyball. Volleyball was down in Missouri, playing in the Mizzou Invitational down there, and had to travel all that distance to go down there and play a match against South Dakota. That's fine. We can do that. They won it in 3 sets, Jeff, so that's good.
Yeah, and this is part of an arranged thing that they've been doing for the past several years. This is the 3rd year of it. We have one more. We'll be playing these same teams again next year in Northern Kentucky. It's Missouri, us, Northern Kentucky, and South Dakota.
And that's the last one, right? Didn't we
Yes.
start?
We started it, so this will be the last one next year. Yep. So it's a fun little tournament. It's not particularly competitive for Louisville, to be honest. None of these teams are true threats to what the level of volleyball that Louisville's playing right now. Missouri is probably the closest, but
Has Louisville dropped a set in this event?
dropped a set. Maybe have dropped a set, but definitely haven't dropped a match. Right. So, yeah. Well, I feel like somebody's probably taken a set off at some point, somewhere along the way, but I don't remember now. This is not super competitive for us. It's a good week. We had a couple of really tough matches last weekend. Washington State we knew would be good. Wright State was maybe a little better than expected, but certainly pressured us. So to have a nice week to chill out and build some confidence is fine. We're going to be coming back Like we talked about, Dayton, you never want to take them for granted. They're not usually not like a powerhouse team, but they can sneak up on you. And then just that stretch of the non-con, the pinnacle of the non-conference for us with Kentucky, Stanford, Penn State, all coming in. Going to be tough. So take a little bit of a breather this weekend. Play around with the lineups like you were doing last weekend a little bit. Continue to do that. Get settled, and be ready to come back strong for the real meat of the non-conference.
This is completely off topic, but I just went to see Wright State to see how they've been doing outside of taking that set off of Louisville volleyball. They only sponsor 12 sports, and 2 of those are cross country and track and field. So I guess really they only sponsor 10 sports.
Interesting.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah.
That is kind of low, yeah. But the Cards in a sweep 25-10, 25-16, 25-18. And as Jared kind of pointed out here, we're normally used to Anna DeBeer and PK Kong having huge matches anytime they step out, but the hitting percentage wasn't that great for them. It was Iko Jones and Charity Looper and Kara Cressy stepping up, Jared, to handle things well for the Cards.
Yeah, and that's one of the pluses about having so many weapons on this team is if somebody has an off game, the next person on the roster says, okay, my turn, I'll take over, and so no concerns there. And honestly, if we're going to have players that have very poor or negative hitting percentages, I'm glad it's against a team that we should and did sweep with ease. Get any of your bad stuff out this weekend, because this is a weekend that to me should be a bunch of sweeps, 3-0s the whole way. I mean, if they drop a set, shouldn't be a big deal. But also a good time to let other players get in and get some reps in. Rest your starters, because as Jeff mentioned, that next 4-match stretch after this is tough. So I'm not too concerned if we go the whole weekend and DeBeer and PK are still having these same issues throughout the whole weekend. Then I may question what's going on there. But one match, it's going to happen.
Cards had a very good evening in blocking with 12 of those on the front line, and also in aces from the serving line, reaching double digit with 10 aces. And that's a bit of a rarity at times, isn't it, Jeff, to get 10 in one match?
Yeah, it is. And it can be, aces are one of those tricky stats that it can be about how well you're playing. It can also be about how not well the other team is playing. If they're passing, if their serve receive is just not clicking, then you can end up with some aces that maybe are not, deserved, not necessarily a particularly impressive serve, but if they happen to shank it, then, you get an ace out of it. So stuff like that can happen. But, you got to be serving fairly well to rack up 10 of them. So that's good news. Of course, the typical comparison is aces versus errors, right? It's not always a great ratio to look at, but it's what a lot of people use, and looks pretty good in our favor on this one. So pretty happy with that.
And they're only -5 on the season.
Yeah,
which is I think more impressive than the 10-2 number in this match. They're flirting with being even on average per match, because they played 4 matches, right? So it's they're definitely a lot closer at this point in the season to even on that stat than they have been in years past.
Yeah.
I think that's serving has been a real issue for them. Even when they get their best servers up there, they can get a little overconfident and give up what should be a strong serving run by trying to do too much and hitting it into the net or bombing it long or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And as far as being able to watch this one, Jeff, Jared, is there anything on there as far as online or on TV or anything where the folks could actually watch the match coming up?
No, not for today. There's not, unfortunately.
Nothing there. Huh?
Yeah.
Tomorrow
it
maybe
doesn't
an
really make
SEC.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
today there's no stream, but tomorrow was a SEC Network Plus.
Yes, because it's Missouri hosting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like they have the. I mean, I don't get it. They have the infrastructure. You
Yeah.
know it's going to be set up for Mizzou to play literally the next game.
Yeah.
It's not like it is
I
that much
mean-
effort to just open the stream, and it doesn't use that many resources for ESPN to host it.
Yeah.
I feel like they
I
could
mean, we
do
did
that and get something.
we
didn't do
did-
it for.
we didn't do it last week, so it's just
Probably in the media rights deal they can't because it
Yeah.
doesn't involve an SEC or in our case an ACC team. It doesn't. I don't know.
something like that. Yeah.
Hmm.
It is
And
frustrating. I agree.
It is because you want to watch this team play as much as you can because I think they're another team that I think could go to the Final Four again this year,
Mhm.
and I do believe that, and I want to see as much of them as I can, especially on road battles. Okay, now. Like I think you pointed out in the article here, you got Northern Kentucky today at noon or 2, whatever we decided on here. It's one of those 2 times. Nothing like traveling 6 hours and taking an opponent that lives 90 minutes away from you. But
Yeah. It's a rotating location, right? It's going to all 4 of them,
NKU,
so.
what do we know about them?
From watching them in the past years, they've been a very scrappy team. They're not very tall. They're not very big. They're not powerhouse team, but they're scrappy. They're not going to let many balls on the ground. So you have to be persistent. You got to play through the whistle. But they're not going to be super high quality, but they're not going to have great placement on shots, but they're going to come back with a shot against you. And there's shots that you think are going to hit the ground are not going to hit the ground is the big thing. So,
yeah, I think keeping your composure against Northern Kentucky has proven to be the most important aspect of playing against them. They can, like you said, frustrate you defensively, frustrate you offensively with their defense by making some good plays. They're struggling this season. 1-3 so far, swept in all 3 losses by Ohio State, Bowling Green, and Mizzou. The only win is 3-1 against East Tennessee State. So certainly don't have the resume so far this year, but we know from experience in years past just how frustrating they can be, and that familiarity is always dangerous, especially for a team that is a neighbor. I think when you get to be a top 5 team perennially, like Louisville has become, there's always a target. And when you're playing against smaller schools in your own market, that target can sometimes be even larger.
Think of it as a lower grade Wright State, very similar style.
Yeah. Now, they're going to give us their best game. Yeah, you can almost always count on
It's
that.
their Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I
Or
just hope they
NCAA
don't bring
championship
that big Norseman up there down there that I ran into when I was up at NKU to watch basketball. That guy's scary.
The Vikings is a little startling.
Yeah, he scared me because I was walking back at halftime at the game, and he yelled at me, "Take my picture!"
Mhm.
And I was like, "Yes, sir. Put your sword away, please. I'll take your picture. Do you want me to set my wife up to sit with you? I mean, what can I do here?"
I will say we're talking about Wright State. I want to give Louisville a little bit more credit for dropping a set to Wright State, and also give Wright State credit for the start they're having. They were on the road at Toledo for an exhibition to open the season. They won all 4 sets that were played. So they opened the season with a sweeping loss against Washington State, but then they swept Troy to win. They took a set off of Louisville. They lost 3-2 to Texas A&M, and then swept Loyola Chicago yesterday, and Loyola Chicago is receiving votes. So they're definitely putting up some good performances, and Louisville may have kept things a bit more comfortable by having that big run to close out the 4th instead of having to go to a 5th against a scrappy team like that.
And that mascot at Wright State, first answer. Who's got it?
I mean, I'm looking at it, so I don't want to.
Is it? It's not the Pirates or anything. It's like it, is it?
It's
No.
Wright State.
It's Rowdy Raider.
Raiders, that's right.
What a
I
kid.
definitely wouldn't have gotten that. Their mascot picture is a dog.
Yeah, but they're called the Raiders. Yeah, it's a dog, but they're
I
called the
guess I
Raiders.
shouldn't have been so confident.
Yeah,
I did learn that they are located in Dayton, Ohio. I was like, man,
Yes, they are.
why are they playing so many games in Dayton? And then I kept scrolling down. I was like, oh wait, all their home games are in Dayton.
Yes, they are. All right. So I guess the really thing I guess we want to touch on a little bit is the news that came down the pike the other day that the ACC has expanded to the Pacific Ocean now. How about that, guys? Is where you're finding out that Stanford and Cal, as well as SMU, coming onto the fold beginning next year. Let's go around the table on this one. What do you think about this expansion, guys? In
Well,
case you started that for us.
they already had more than just the Atlantic Coast.
Yeah,
So now we should just change the name. It would be the All Coast Conference because you got the Atlantic Coast, you got the Pacific Coast, you got the Gulf Coast with Florida State.
and it still could be ACC too. All
Yeah.
Coast Conference. Yeah.
You got the coast of the Ohio River with Louisville. But it's one of those things where it was a little surprising to see the original news come out that the ACC was, hemming and hawing about adding teams from the Pac-12. In this day and age of where conference realignment is, I think a lot of people are coming around to the idea that football should just be made up of independents, or football conferences should be isolated from the rest of the athletic conferences because it's not sustainable for the nonprofit sports, primarily, the ones that we cover. They can't have this many teams that have to travel this far for all these games. It just doesn't work. Like, they don't have the money for it. Cross country travel is expensive for 20 people on a field hockey team, or insert however many people on whatever other nonprofit sport team. But it was inevitable as the conference realignment continues. It's going to be either eat or be eaten, and so the ACC needed to pick up a few of the stragglers from the dissolving Pac-12, or they were going to be in danger of starting to shed members of their own, which, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, there might still be some rumors of that happening. So it's tough to say. You're going to get to a point where eventually there's going to be two super conferences, which
Well,
is
who's
what everybody's
left out
talking
there,
about.
Case? Let me ask you this: is it Oregon State and Washington State the only two schools left out there that haven't been designed to another conference?
Yes.
Mhm.
And this SMU edition is also a weird. I mean, we were all talking about Stanford and Cal, picking them up from the Pac-12, and then just all of a sudden it's like, oh, also SMU from what? They're still AAC, right? So it's just the AAC, which was the Big East, and then the Big East did its own thing, and the AAC was formed and has been a rotating cast of characters as every ACC or AAC member has been trying to get out of that league since
Definitely
it started, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Oregon and Washington State. I don't know why people don't want them. I mean, Oregon State and Washington State, I think, would be just as
If you're
valuable
going to take
additions.
3 of them or 2 of them out there, why not take the other 2?
I mean, nobody wants to leave the last kid on the kickball team selection, I think.
Oh, indeed. Jeff, what do you think about this? All of a sudden, are we going to stop at 20? I mean, what's the deal here? We just keep adding teams here to this conference, which is already, I think, geographically challenged at times. I know Miami loves to make trips to Boston College, but
yeah. I don't know. I don't have much positive say about conference realignment because it's such a business move, and I don't think it's got the players' well-being at heart.
Oh, nobody cares about the players.
Yeah,
Nobody making the decisions about conference realignment.
Yeah, and it annoys me. So I'm annoyed about it. That having been said, I'm a very obviously well known for being a volleyball fan. It's a couple of pretty good ads for volleyball.
Stanford
Stanford
definitely,
clearly
yeah.
is. Yeah, Cal's not
Stanford,
terrible.
Stanford's a good ad in a lot of the
Yeah.
nonprofit sports.
Yeah, I mean volleyball, women's basketball, a number of those others.
Oh yeah, that's a profit sport. Yeah.
Yeah, they're they're going to be competitive. They're going to add to the quality of the program, quality of the play in the conference overall. But yeah, the travel is certainly an annoying situation. Yeah,
And it's Cardinal versus Cardinals now.
yeah,
It's back. It's back.
maybe some commentators will finally get it right when they're
I was
forced
gonna
to
say-
deal with it up front.
People might figure out that there's an S at the end of ours. I mean, Louisville did make the S like look like an S now, so maybe people will pay attention to it.
Yeah,
It just you're expecting way too much out of broadcasters, guys. All right. Jared, what about this? I mean, where do we go now? We've already got the Pacific Coast going there. Do we go up to Canada and maybe pull a college from there, or go down to Mexico and get University of Mexico City, or what? This is crazy.
I think now that you've added 3 more teams, you go on and tell Notre Dame, all right, you don't want to join in football? Bye. We're not taking you for anything anymore because you've got more numbers and more strength. I mean, I love the addition of Stanford, as you all mentioned, from the Olympic sport mindset, even women's basketball.
Oh,
I think they bring a lot to the table in several of those sports. I think last school year they held either 3 or 4
They won the
team national championships.
they won the College Cup.
I mean, it's just a phenomenal athletic program. But when you carry 30 sports, your odds are better at winning more,
Yeah.
as opposed to a school that may only carry 14 or 15 sports. I think Cal has some promise in a few sports, as does SMU. But Case mentioned already, it's about staying alive. Big 10, Big 12, SEC are all flirting with the 18 to 20 school range. The ACC was sitting at 15 for football, 16 for everything else. So you added 3 more to get you up to that 18, 19 spot.
I think it was 15 for everything, 14, because now they're at 18, 17.
Okay, yeah, that's what it was. That's off by 1. So it really is just about trying to beef up your numbers in your conference. So even if you do lose 1 or 2, I just don't know where Florida State and Clemson are going to go. Nobody seems interested in picking them up right now. So, I mean, you can threaten to leave as much as you want. Go right ahead. But it looks like the ACC's been calling their bluff over and over again.
Well,
Like,
true, yeah.
you can, if you want to leave, sure. But
Yeah.
who's picking you up right now?
and the
those things
grant of
where with-
rights makes things pretty tough for them. So
Exactly. They have to basically get bought out by whatever conference they're going to go to, and the way they've been performing recently, conferences are like, we'll just add somebody that has approximately the same value as you
Yeah, you would
for-
think.
Oh, yeah,
SEC,
absolutely.
obviously.
free instead of paying an ungodly sum of money to try and buy you out of the ACC. No, thank you.
Yeah, that's you would think the SEC would be the logical choice for either one or both of those two because of the proximity. But as we've learned, proximity doesn't mean diddly squat anymore. Okay, you've got Pacific Coast teams in the ACC. What's this?
I wouldn't hate the Schadenfreude of watching either of them go to the SEC and get absolutely obliterated.
It would add a lot more interest to the
Yeah.
Florida State game each year.
In
Wouldn't
like
it?
everything, I don't even they wouldn't. It's not like either of them go to the SEC with some dominance in any sport on lock. So it would be an interesting move for them, I think.
My friend Arthur would be in hog heaven though, because he absolutely hates South Carolina. So it would give him an unmitigated chance to beat South Carolina every year down at Clemson.
But they play every year.
Not
already.
always, do they?
Yeah, they play in
Yeah, it's on their football schedule every year.
The ACC SEC rivalry weekend. They're always.
But is it in basketball as well?
Oh, I don't know about basketball.
Well, you're football oriented, so what the
Now, for
Well, all of
basketball,
conference realignment is football oriented. So
yeah, the schedule for basketball should be better. I think right now the ACC structure is you play 3 teams twice in the conference season. So now you'll just play everybody 1 time. So there's
Well, I
no
think
duplicates.
they expanded to 20 games this season, so you were going to play more teams twice, but now it'll go back to just being 3 teams twice next year.
Gonna have to have some really long seasons for all sports now to
absolutely
fit that in.
conference schedules,
Or
yeah,
play-
for sure.
Yeah, you're going to play half the teams in the conference in most sports.
Interesting times ahead for us, folks. But we'll keep you up on it. We'll keep you informed on what's happening and what's going on, and certainly never shy to voice our opinions here at Cardinal Couple. So we'll do that as well. But fellas, clock on the wall is telling me it's time for final thoughts here. So we'll go ahead and and progress on into those. And started out with Jared this week. Final thoughts, Jared.
Yeah, congratulations to Asia Taylor and Celine Funky, both who got engaged this past week.
Absolutely.
So wonderful news for both of them as they've found their forever partners.
Not to each other. They're separate.
Oh no, not to each other. These are
That
completely
would
separate
be an interesting
engagements.
combo, wouldn't it? Yeah.
But still, congratulations to both
yes.
of them.
Absolutely so. Love Asia to death and Celine as well. Both the two wonderful girls, and just wish them a lot of happiness and kids if they want them, and certainly success in life, because both have been shining examples of the good things that can come out of the University of Louisville, guys. Really.
Absolutely.
Case, final thoughts?
A couple of volleyball things that I don't think we mentioned. I might be stealing one from Jeff here.
Jeff is cringing. Uh-oh.
The win for the volleyball team over South Dakota was Danny Busman Kelly's 150th as a head coach, and also announced on Thursday, it looks like Louisville is offering courtside volleyball seats. I'm trying to open the link, but it won't open. So I think that is for the Yum Center matches. So if you would like to get probably peppered with volleyballs and potentially like obliterated by people diving for a ball, the option is yours for some sum of money that is probably not inconvenient, or probably not insignificant, I should say. But it's cool to see them expanding that and trying to make those even more marquee matchups. They already do a good job of turning out a lot of people for that, and so it'll be cool to have an expanded option there.
Yes, but does UofL's insurance carrier know of this edition?
I don't know. If it's Farm Bureau looking to pick up the contract, Jared, you tell me.
That's why I was
I
asking.
think
For no reason
I
at
think
all.
that's
I'm
one we
curious.
would not write something like that, unfortunately.
You'd
But
be
yeah,
able
that's
to bring Freddie to the games, though, and send him down there. What a great blocker he'd be. Coach
I'd
Busfield,
love to have
put
him out
Freddie
there.
in. Put Freddie in. He can block it with his belly. Jeff, final thoughts.
Kind of along the same lines, but I was down at Reparina yesterday and watched the match down there, Kentucky and Pitt. They had a little over 5,040 something. I don't know what it was, but let's beat that in numbers. Our next home match is against Kentucky.
I think that Louisville would beat that in
Center.
numbers, like at regular season games in L&N if they could.
If they had the seats, yeah.
If they had the capacity.
Yeah, I mean, it would be close, I think. But and I think we will beat it. I know they're looking to get, let's fill the lower bowl type of numbers, which is 10, 11,000. So
it was 10-5 from Notre Dame last season, right? And Notre Dame was
something like that. And Notre Dame's
hot
not
garbage.
that great, yeah. But although now we see maybe Kentucky's not that great either. But we'll see.
It's a rivalry. You'll still bring a crowd.
Yeah,
which
it'll
is
bring
nice.
people. Yeah.
And it beats playing Notre Dame in Sacred Heart Arena.
Yeah.
Oof, I'll never forget that one. They handed you a bottle of water and told you to watch out. Okay. But final thoughts here, and I hate to be, Paulie Downer here, but a very sad thing in the fact that Jimmy Buffett has left us. If you're a fan of music at all, you've undoubtedly heard some of Jimmy Buffett's classics over the years. It was a surprise, I think, to a lot of people. It was to me, definitely. I had some very, very good Buffett concerts over the years that I attended with my wife, and also even before I met my wife, to talk about his longevity and think the effects he had on not only music, but on society and on America, It's a sad day for that, but we still have his music to listen to and his memories, so certainly we'll go with those. Jimmy Buffett gone. But hey, we want to thank you all for being here with us today on the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast, and certainly we'll be back with you next week. Until then, everybody have a good one and go Cards!